All right. Good morning, everybody. Everybody likes the window seats. You're all sitting over there today. Morning, everybody online. Thank you for being here. If you are dressed and presentable, paying attention, please turn on those cameras. Thank you, Claudia, J-Ro, Monty, Joanna. Hello, everyone. Tracy. Tracy, you're super safe. You're on video and you got a mask. So yeah, Valerie's probably feeding the baby. So anyways, Brent, haven't seen you since last year, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Awesome to be here, baby.
Wonderful. Well, hey, do you mind if we kick it off with Tell Me Something Good?
Let's do it.
All right. All right, everybody. We always start off with Tell Me Something Good. So, Barry.
Hey, one of my best friends lost 9 pounds so far this week.
Well, congratulations to whoever the mystery person is. We don't have no idea. Manu?
John Jennings.
One of my past clients just signed up a contract with a new build with me this Sunday. Their house will be done in June, but we are in escrow.
There you go. Congratulations. Steve.
What?
I know you have something to share.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have something good to tell you. We got one of the best professionals in here to share his knowledge and to keep us out of jail. And that is Chris Varela from Rent Pros.
He is. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Well, what about your duplex?
Yes, I have a duplex, and it's a complex. It becomes complex when you got 6 or 7 offers and the seller wants all cash as is. And Chris can attest to this. It's pretty rough, but that's what the seller wants. And I've got about 5 offers now, and I've got 3 more coming in.
Boom.
So life is good.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, John, also too, I would say people should share highlights from yesterday's top producer panel, either something takeaways from Ryan Lundquist. I'm sure you have that in your schedule, but I think that can qualify under Tell Me Something Good of, where you just had your mind blowing by either someone on the panel or something Ryan said, Lundquist. But I'll share something I think is good. So awesome. I was watching the Kapalua golf tournament, and I love Kapalua, Maui, and I was so inspired. I go, you know what? I'm going to create an event called and Rob's in the back. He may have not heard of this yet. He may follow over. I need 2 people on each side of Rob Litzinger so he doesn't pass out and fall over. But we are doing the EXP Kapalua Maui 2023 Invitational, open to all EXP agents worldwide. So we're going to be hanging out at the Ritz-Carlton Kapalua. And it's going to be amazing. It's stupid expensive, but there's a way to qualify to be there. But here's the hack. Right down the street, we go to the Aston Canapelli shores. And instead of being 3,000 a night, it's like 300 a night. So there's the hack for how to get yourself to Maui and not be broke. But to qualify to go to this, it's open to everyone. Everyone will be there. It's going to be amazing. You have to have 20 people on your front line and 100 in your organization. So you got all year to go do that. And if you do that, you can come to the Aston Canapelli Maui EXP Invitational so hand select yourself. It's something you could do. So that's kind of cool. So let's give it a hand for that. It's next January. So whoever that's inspired by that, do it.
Awesome. Alicia?
I forgot a win. Can I sneak a win in?
Absolutely.
Rose, the first deal, right?
Yay.
Almost fell apart yesterday.
Oh, no.
Both the seller and the buyer wanted to cancel, both of them.
Whoa.
But over $5,000. But I'm like, Mr. Customer, if you get to 2,500, can you be happy with 2,500? I'm like, it may not come from the seller, but would you be okay with that? So we each kicked in $800, and they're funding today.
Boom. So that almost blew up at the finish line then too.
Oh, crazy.
That's horrible.
Yeah, you gotta keep them together.
Yes, congratulations, Rose, on your first closing. Wonderful. So in theme of what Brent was saying, who attended the top producer panel yesterday? All right, now keep your hand raised if you would like to share something. Gary, you don't say much.
I think this was Jay that said this, but he said, everything I want is on the other side of what I don't want to do.
That was good.
Yeah, that was one that hit me.
Awesome. Who else? Raise your
I
hand.
did. Ryan on what's her team? He's on her team, right? Thank you. Yeah. You know, Brent taught us on open houses. We built our business on open houses, but what Ryan shared really opened up my eyes. He said he does a lot of studying and he becomes the expert, not just knowledgeable, but expert about the community. So when you start, and that's one of the things that Bill Pipe said about his seminar is, okay, start off with data. When you meet people, give them information that gives them maybe the confidence that, man, this guy has something to offer that can help me, as opposed to somebody that want to work with me right off the bat. I thought that was huge. And you know what? He's only been in business 4 years and he's doing what he's doing, and he's built it off of what? The foundation of open houses.
Incredible.
They work, but we got to work them really hard, better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So it changed my mind, and I realized I wasn't working that hard.
There you go. It's on the other side of what you don't want to do, right?
Or didn't do.
Gotta work hard. Didn't do,
Or
yeah.
didn't do.
Jenna?
I like what Gail said, talking about like big, hairy, audacious goals, because it's like, I mean, I set goals every year, at the beginning of the year, quarterly, but it's like, and I strive to hit them, which I do. So it's like, why not make those goals even bigger if I'm already hitting my goals?
Excellent point. You're on the lid, right? It's the law of the lid. You just gotta expand your influence. All right, who else? We'll get one more. I saw a lot of hands.
It might not have been important to everybody else, but the fidget bubble is burst.
What budget?
The fidget spinner bubble.
Yeah.
They're out.
Tell the story about his kid.
Yeah. No, actually, for me, this idea that less than 1 month supply for 18 months. I mean, it feels like you've been in a battle. It's because you've been in a battle. Go ahead and be okay with that. You're a warrior now. You're a real estate agent in a market where there's no freaking inventory. This is normal. This is the normal market. For 18 months, there's been less than 1 month supply. You are a warrior. This should be a fight. If you're waiting for you to come to work one day and it's going to feel easy, it's never going to happen. It's not going to feel easy. This is normal. Should be
I
fighting.
would like to speak to the flip side of that, Barry, so you can appreciate your market. And I much prefer this market. There's a FOMO, fear of missing out. Buyers are like, they jump, they pounce, they got it. They're not going to let it go. Here's the flip side. When you get a lot of inventory, they're like, yeah, we're going to keep looking. We're going to keep looking. They get an escrow, we're going to cancel. Like, oh, and they could look at 50, 60, 70 homes over 6 months to a year. So you may go, well, this sucks. There's not much to show them. I go, thank God there's not much to show them. This is amazing. And they look at a few homes. You better pick one and we're going to go and get it. And then Claudia had her hand raised too. So go ahead. I was watching. What was your?
Well, I can't believe I hadn't thought of this before, that I should be the snack person for my car club, because we have meetings every month and I've gotten deals out of my car club, but I should be more active there. And so I'm going to be bringing pizza or something.
Who told you to do that yesterday? Did someone, one of the speakers
It might have
mention?
been the MC guy. I can't remember his name.
Shelby?
Shelby.
Might have been Shelby.
Okay, that's a good one.
And I wanted to celebrate that I have my new agent here from Nevada. Norm Utley is here, and he just brought somebody on, and they just are in escrow and about to close their first property. So way to go.
Congratulations, Norm. Way to go.
So I have a quick one about yesterday, and then one on to recruiting, if that's okay. Yesterday, Gail DeMarco was quoting Nick Sabick, and she said, all sellers are going to turn on you. It's a blessing if they don't.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, maybe that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe that's a perspective. What I got of that, I don't believe that, because not all sellers do. However, when you've got people, emotional people, and money, it can produce a powder keg combination. So Tony Robbins says the only problem that you really have is thinking that you shouldn't have any. So like Barry said, we're in a battle. Like Brett said, we've been, things happen. It's really about getting your mindset right. So when things happen, you don't lose your whatever. You just roll with it, keep going, do everything you can, outwork them, out hustle them, give. And at the end of the day, there's some things you can't control. You just got to be okay with it and go out and get more business.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting more business, I have been on a hunt on my recruiting side of my business to recruit. And I've been having sessions with Brent over the last several months about what is the matter with me? Why isn't this working? Why are people joining other people? Why are they not joining? Why are they blah, blah, blah? And I think I love Brent. He just looks at me and says, Tom, just keep going and get better. Just keep going and get better. Just keep going and get better. Like, what are you gonna do? Like roll over and wet on yourself and give up? Like, that's not gonna help. So Brent didn't say that. That's me interpreting what Brent said. Anyway, long story short.
Don't wet yourself, Tom.
Say that again.
Nothing.
Anyway, I don't wet on myself. Anyway, so I just kept going, and finally, I've been after this KW commercial agent that we did a deal with in Santa Monica about 5 years ago. Been friends ever since. Showed him EXP. Long process. Talked to Gene. Talked to Rick. Talked to Brent. Talked to everyone in commercial. He joined.
Congratulations.
This guy is a major play. He knows everyone in commercial, especially in LA. He's already talked to 3 people. I've got a Zoom call this afternoon with one of them, and he's got several others. And these guys know everybody. I mean, you think real estate, residential is incestuous and tight. Commercial is even more because there's fewer players, and the power players know everybody. So he's got calls lined up with several really big players who he's already talked to verbally, and they said, "Yeah, we're interested." So it's a home run for me just because it affirmed that it works,
Yep.
and from everything that Brent said and all the crap that everything that I want is on the other side of my comfort zone. So I've been just going through the comfort zone, the lack of comfort zone. What is it? Winston Churchill or Brent Gove or Gene? Someone wise said, "If you're going through hell, keep going."
I know it's Rodney Atkins, but yeah. Awesome.
That's good.
All right, so on that thread, Ryan Lundquist presented yesterday. He gave a lot of great market information. Let's talk about what some key takeaways were from Ryan's presentation and just what you're seeing in the market on your own, because inventory has been tight, but I just would like to hear what you guys are seeing in the market, and then I'll share as well. So go ahead. Who had a big takeaway from Ryan's presentation?
Yeah, and I want to hear that. And then also, I wasn't able to be there. Obviously, I'm out here in the Caribbean, but how was the turnout? Was it good? Good energy, good meet? Was it good, you guys?
Yeah.
Full parking lot. The street up and down Granite Bay Drive was just loaded. Nobody could park at the place. It was
Wow.
full.
Wow. Exciting. Good.
Yeah.
mood.
We did eat there, and you would have done a great job.
Cool.
Gosh.
All right. So let's
recorded.
hear about highlights from Ryan.
We wanted him there in addition.
So market update. What were some big takeaways for those of you that went? Luis?
It's like 85%
Takeaways is that I think the biggest thing that I like that Ryan kind of covered is how you're presenting things. Like mindset, like you said, there's 2 ways to look at things, almost like the glass is half empty or half full. So when you're presenting certain statistics to buyers, do you want to present it in a negative way or do you want to present it in a positive way? So and that was like a good takeaway for myself. For example, like when you're going over inventory, which is like a lot of buyer worries nowadays.
Yep.
You can I forgot how he said it, but basically you want to present that stuff in a way like where you're going to be excited and where you're going to present it to where they're going to also be excited to go look at inventory. And honestly, I think we're going to be going into a I forgot what it is.
Please turn your phone off if you're going to be.
All good, man. All good. No pressure. What were you saying, Robert?
Oh, that the market is still like 85% financed. I thought that
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of buyers are thinking, man, what's the point? I'm just going to get beat by a cash offer. And that's not the case.
He said there's twice as many $1 million sales versus 2020 in 2021. 7% of all sales in SAC were $1 million or more. It was the highest percentage ever of multiple offers that we've ever seen.
Wow.
And the highest year of paying at or above list price, and the biggest dollar growth ever that we've ever seen.
I think though that market segment that he did, only 7% above $1 million, and then very small amount below 400. He really good at looking at that data point right there between the 500, 550 to 750, 800. That's where the main part of the business is.
Yeah.
And I think that as I'm positioning myself this year, I want to be in that main. This is where the most houses sold, so that's where we need to shift our business in and out of that section.
Yeah.
Because if you're only going after the 7% over here, you're limiting your, that's got to be a real conscious choice if that's what your conscious choice is. And then you can't be working with people under 400. You better figure out what is the dollar amount that you need to make in income in order to qualify for a loan at 400,000. And frankly, you got to stop working with people that are under that if you're not wanting to be in that, low budget price range.
Isn't that funny? 400 is considered low budget now.
And by the way, Barry had one of his best years ever in real estate last year, didn't you, Barry?
I did. December was actually my best month ever.
Best month. What does that mean? You made 10 grand. What's best month mean? I want details.
Not Cindy Silva, but I did rack up $100,000 a month.
All right.
Oh, 6.
I'm coming for you, Cindy.
That's not bad. Not bad. Good job.
Thank you.
Forbearance. thing was another thing.
You like the forbearance?
Yeah, there's only 2% of the mortgages are in forbearance because we're always hearing, oh, the crash is coming. Stats don't say that.
And Ryan's never agreed with that. If you follow Ryan for a long time, he's always said there is no crash. It's not coming. The data doesn't support it. And that's where listening to guys like Ryan, his blog is up all the time. You don't have to wait for an event. He puts out more content that is usable for free than any I've ever met. The guy never sleeps. This is what he does. And so, never been a fan of that.
If you think about it, everybody's been paying cash for properties. They've been putting 50% down, 20% down. The people who did do 3% down or 5% down have great jobs, great credit. They've been fully vetted. They have fixed rates at 2.9, 3.5, 30-year fixed. It's been 10 years of healthy mortgages. People have massive equity. The market's in actually really great shape. Prices are high, but the market's in great shape. So I'll say that. That's
What I
right.
have noticed though is that who else has noticed and more houses coming on the market in like the last week, 2 weeks?
Last 2
Yeah.
days, yeah, for sure.
What have you seen, Rodney?
I've just been talking to agents and they're just like, they got appointments set up and someone took 5 listings yesterday.
Yep.
That I was talking to. So yeah, it's heating up.
Yeah, MLS wide, it looks like it's up. If my memory serves, almost 1,000 new actives week over week. Yeah, so that's huge.
I figured today and tomorrow would be the day that we'd see the first kickoff of the year in terms of inventory.
Yeah.
Like last week was like where everyone was rolling out of bed after New Year's, and then this week I anticipated the market.
So
It is always the second week in January.
Yeah.
So when you're speaking with buyers, they have more options now. There's maybe a little bit less competition, right?
Yeah.
You're talking with sellers. Hey, you better get your house on the market before somebody else does.
I have a
You
ton
know,
of buyer consultations today because I set up the expectations that this weekend is when we should keep our eyes on the buyers.
there you go. There you go. Manu?
I was at Toll Brothers yesterday and I made a video of this beautiful model home and I posted on my Instagram story. I didn't mention anything, just put some music behind it, let people see it. And I got 6 messages, people asking me where it is, how much it cost. We love this. A couple of people. And then I made one appointment. For the first time in my real estate career, I'm showing a $1.6 million home.
So the takeaway is I need to just go and film random people's houses, whether they're on the
You
market
can
or
just
not.
go
Make sure they're for sale.
No, not for sale, not for sale. Just go, hey, I got a buyer for you.
No, there are models all over the place. Just go film models and put them out there. Models are pretty. They get people's attention. Like I posted a photo of the other day, a 6 feet wide glass door. And people were like, oh, that's beautiful. And the client who bought this, they bought this from a video and they're like, we want to go see it. And they went there, they saw the house, they went crazy, they signed the contract. I showed them by 3 o'clock, we were in escrow.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. By the way, a lot of you wouldn't do that at Kevin McDonald's listing or Sonia Emmer's listing or walk up to a Nick Sadek listing with Sotheby's and go film his house and say, you kind of could, I think. I don't know what the rules are. Barry will know the rules. Barry, can you do that? I don't know if you can do that without permission. There you go. Do it first. But here's a cool thing. The brand new model homes are drop dead gorgeous. And you go, look at this beautiful listing in Granite Bay, Loomis, Rockland. It's 4,000 square feet. It's got a pool and it's all decked out as the model. Call me if you want to see this. They're going to assume it's your listing. And they're going to call. This is what happened to Manu. You don't have to say it's a Toll Brothers, it's Lennar, it's JMC Homes, and you just show them the beautiful home. Boy, and plus you look successful. Ooh, look at Luis back there. He's got that killer listing. Look at the one Barry. Look at the one Manu has. And all of a sudden, and if you want $1 to $2 million clients, make sure you're doing that in $1 to $2 million properties, right? Now, if you're brand new, you don't necessarily have the confidence. They hire you to be high, but if you're new, you might think about doing more 400,000 or 500,000 entry level. Barry, did you ever think entry level would be like 400,000? Oh my gosh.
My little starter home cost 405, so.
That's amazing. I remember 26 years ago, I think I remember that far back. And I did my first luxury home. It took me 2 years to get there, but it was 5 acres in Orangeville, horse property, 3,000 square foot home with the barn, 128,000.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That was 25, right? I mean, all the homes I sold were 60, 70, $80,000. And then the high end was like 90s kind of. And so that was in Thomas. You could have any home you wanted in Thomas for 80 or 90,000. And they're all outraged at the high prices, this doggone Bay Area. And I'm gonna tell you what, the average price you're seeing right now, give it 10, 15 years, will be 600,000, 700,000. They'll go up 200,000, 300,000 a house. It's gonna happen. And just, we know the history repeats itself and they're going to keep floating up. So it's very good.
Absolutely. So any other questions or any input on the market before we move on to the lender update? No? All right. Miss Alicia, what do you have for us?
So huge deal. Please market this because it'll get you guys business. February 7th, so very soon, second homes are going up literally 4 points in cost. On a $400,000 loan, that's $16,000 in closing costs. You get into contract prior to February 7th, the second home literally is going to cost 4 points less. So it's dramatic. It's not like it's like a little tiny change. It's very, very dramatic. What Fannie Mae is doing is they're pricing second homes the same as a rental. They will let you do a higher loan to value than a rental, so you can put a little bit less down, but the interest rates are going to be treated the same. Right now, they're closer to primary. They're going to be closer to a rental. So do a video. Hey, if you've been dreaming about getting a second home, now's your chance. Save up to 4%. That's a huge, ridiculous amount of savings. I went ahead and I posted a chart for you because the other program that's impacted is high balance loans. So in between the conforming loan and the jumbo loan is this little niche loan amount, which is basically the price range we're talking about when people put 10%, 20% down. It's going up by 0.75% in cost. So 1% of 400,000 is $4,000, and we're talking about $500,000-$600,000 purchases, right? So keep that in mind, that if you market now to create your urgency, people will take advantage of that. I mean, that's a huge savings. So I definitely would do that.
Awesome. And is that just second homes, or is interest rates going up on investment properties as well?
No, they didn't announce a change on investment property.
Okay, so just second homes.
But interest rates are going up on all properties.
Yes, I do want to bring that up really quick. Again, what I love that Louis said was, it's your mindset and presentation to your customer, right? So if you're like, oh God, it's 0.6 higher now, and this is all terrible, well then yeah, it's definitely terrible. But if you're like, isn't it exciting? It got rid of so much of your competition. And in the scheme of things, on 500,000, that's $2,500 a year, $200 a month. You spend that in Starbucks. Check your budget. I almost guarantee it, right? Then people can go, you're right. Okay, let me just cut out this one thing. It's not a big deal unless we let it be a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
I was listening, I got to go back to UWM over the course of the first week of January. And I was listening to Matt Yashibi talk. And what Matt said was, he said that 2022 is going to come with some challenges in the form of interest rates and things like that. But he said that we are too small to let that affect us. Now, that might not mean very much to you, but they're the second largest lender in the country. And they said, we're too small to let that affect us. Not that we're too big, but that what you do, the results of what you get is based on what you do, not what the market does.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so that's very true for everybody in this room, especially me. My little world of whether I succeed or fail next year has nothing to do with the macroeconomics of what's going on in the world. I'm way too small for that to matter to my business. What matters to my business is what I do every day. Right? That's what matters to my family. And if Matt Yashibi is saying that in front of his 9,000 employees, then I guarantee you we're too small for those macroeconomics to matter to us.
Baronomics or Alicianomics.
Baronomics.
For any newer agent or any agent in general, I am doing a class tonight at 5:30. Literally, we're gonna walk through the prior to pre-qualification, the whole process of a contract, winning your offer, what happens after they close. So it'll be about an hour, but literally you're gonna learn what every single closing cost is. I break down what is the title fee for, you know. So it's very educational and it's free and it's this evening at Zoom. I posted the link.
Alicia, how do they sign up for that class? Is it Zoom or
I posted the link to the Eventbrite and that will take them right to the Zoom
on YouTube or on
on your
Brent Gove?
Facebook page.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So we'll get that. For those of you who are in chat, when this video is posted, we'll include that in the description so you can find it for. So these videos get posted pretty quickly. Awesome. So with that, we have the man, the myth, the legend. Like his company was voted the best rental property management company in the area, Mr. Chris Arola. Everybody, please give Chris a big round of applause.
How you doing, Brent? How you doing, guys? I thought I was in the wrong room for a minute. I walk in, I hardly recognize anybody. You know, I grew up in a small town where you could hardly walk into the grocery store that you didn't bump into somebody and get to talk to them or have to talk to them. And it was kind of like that at your place, right, Brent? I walked in, we knew everybody, and now I don't know hardly anyone. And I think that's a great sign that business is great and booming, and EXP is booming. And after listening to some of these stories, I think I'm going to just sell my company and start selling real estate.
Loan.
But easy, Brent. I'm just kidding.
I'll be your sponsor. Yeah.
You know, I agree with some of what's being said here, although I don't believe Barry wouldn't try to sell a house that wasn't for sale, because I think you would.
I am.
And, but I do agree with you in that, you know, you probably are not gonna, I don't see the evidence of a crash. Remember, if you're in the business back in 06, 07, you know, as investors, we stopped buying. I mean, this just got goofy. And most experienced investors didn't buy because we knew there was, you didn't have to have any money, credit. We had those ninja loans, Alicia, and no income, no job, no, I don't know what ninja stood for, but it meant you just sign your name. And we don't have that going on right now. People have skin in the game, and you know, so if there's a little flatten off, or that could be expected, but I don't anticipate a big crash. The last little advice I'll give you before I get into what I want to talk about is, if you're making $100 grand a month, that's awesome. Remember, take 40 of that, pay your taxes, send it out to your Uncle Sam. It's not yours, and that's not going to be good in the end. So get a good CPA. That's a good problem to have. You got to pay a CPA a few $1,000 a year. That's a great problem to have.
Hey, if you move to Puerto Rico, it's yours. I'll just say that, but okay.
Then you get to keep it, huh? All right. So, you know, I was watching Barney and Company 2 mornings ago, and they had the president of U-Haul on there. And you know how U-Haul works. I assume we all know it. I'll just say, if you want to move from Sacramento to Dallas, you get a U-Haul trucker van and you put all your stuff in it and you take it there and you leave it in Texas. You don't drive it back, right? So what's happening is, of course, and this has been going on for years, U-Haul's complained that they get all this backup of you know, all these vans and trucks in Dallas and other places, and they don't have any in Sacramento. So they literally were paying people to drive them back, tow them back. And that's still going on. But here's what I want to take from that. U-Haul's a 75-year-old company. And they said in all of their tracking, they have never seen an exodus. This exodus that happened last year and last year and a half has superseded all other exodus out of California. And what I thought was more interesting is who's moving? Who's moving? Well, it's inner cities, it's the big cities, people moving out. And finally, they mentioned there are only 2 cities in Sacramento that are still growing. One is San Diego, and the other, I'm sorry, in California, yes. One is San Diego, and the other is right here in the whole Sacramento area.
Nice.
And so, you know, this is leading to good things here, and it's leading to shortages here, you know, bad things here in terms of your sales inventory, your potential sales inventory. And in the rental market, we're seeing that emphasized, that amplified even more because, you know, we had a shortage of rental properties. We had a thing called rent control get passed. A lot of landlords sold their properties, got out of the business. They're doing that now still. So it creates this shortage that gets amplified more and more as that happens. So what that has led to is great rent increases. And so just to give you an idea, if you look at all the rent increases of the last 5 years, it's averaging anywhere from 10 to 20% rent increase per year, depending on where you are. But overall, over the past 5 years, almost every area of California has experienced a roughly 50% increase in rent. So you take a place like Roseville, I'll tell you, 5 years ago, $1,800 was a lot of money for rent, you know, it was, but, and the average was more like 1,600. Well, at 1,800, it goes at 50%, that's 25 or 2,600. And we're seeing that all as normal rent now, aren't we? So this is, in this area, you've seen a little over 50% in 5 years. In some areas, I noticed Stockton was the highest, and I saw 65% increase in the past 5 years. So, you know, when people are renting now, it's because they gotta or wanna rent, right? They can't, or they think they can't buy. But if you think about it, you know, when I rent these properties for $2,500, $2,600 and $28,000 and $3,000, these nice big homes, I rent them all the time, $3,000. And I'm thinking, you know, that would qualify them for a $650,000 mortgage. By the time you figure in, you know, their interest write-off, or they get $11,000 interest write-off, and their tax savings, you know, this is equivalent to like a $650,000, $700,000 loan. And I think a lot of them, you know, when we ask them, and I'm in the rental business, so I don't go, why aren't you renting? You know, why aren't you buying? Why? I go, oh yeah, it's a good idea. It's a great thing. But you know, we do get to talking to them and listen to their plans, and you know what they're doing? What do you think they're doing? What do you think they're waiting for?
The crash.
The crash. They're waiting for the crash, especially the millennials. They're waiting for the crash. I'm like, gee, many Christmas. You know, this deal you were just talking about, Steve. I got into an escrow. It's a duplex, and you know, I'm an investor, so I picked it apart, and then it wasn't working for me. But I'm thinking, this is a no-brainer for a younger person who wants to live on one side of that duplex. It's like a no-brainer. The thing, even at, I mean, I was in it for what, 500 or something, and now it's up in the 600 range. Who cares if you're at 600 and you buy that thing, and your guy next door is making at least half your mortgage payment, maybe more? I mean, you're in that for way less than you're paying in rent. Way less. Anyway, we can go through the numbers we won't. There's still an awful lot of opportunity out there, is what I'm saying. So this is rental shortage has also led to other issues. For example, we're seeing a degree of desperation with potential renters. They're coming in, and you know, everything's online now. We have our applications online, but they still bang on our door, and they want to talk to somebody because they need a place now, and they need it now. And so it leads to some of that. But what we're also seeing is a tremendous increase in the number of fraudulent applications. In other words, people that don't have the job or the credit, and when we go through, and we've taken classes on how to spot fraud, and we've done a lot of research, and I'm telling you, these frauders are good. You can go to w2.com or landlord.com, or you know, websites like that, and get beautiful rental references. Yeah, Joe Smith has rented for me for 20 years, and he's a great tenant, and they are, and it's completely fake. You can call them and go, yeah, that was Joe. Oh, he was good. Yeah. And it's all fake. So you have to know how to spot that. And I have an office manager who's extremely amazing, good at that, and blows me away. But when we look at the numbers, 47%, that's almost 50%, 40% of every application, 47% of every application we got last year contained a significant amount of fraud.
Wow.
So 47%, that's almost half.
Of rental applications?
Rental applications, yeah. So it's, and you know what the most common thing, first we look at pay stubs. I'll just spend a little time. We look at pay stubs, and they'll give us, you know, the last 3 months of pay stubs. And we know how much California withholding they should have, what percentage. And so we calculate that's wrong, on every one of them. And then the funniest thing, the easiest thing is, every paycheck you get, you have a year to date. So if you made $1,000 this month and $1,000 that month, it should say $2,000. The third one ought to say 3,000. Those don't add up. Okay, so that's the easiest when we look at that and go, hey, how come these don't add up? Usually they'll hang up. So, so it's really, really tough out there for landlords. And so, but they don't really know this. They take I got this great tenant. And then of course they call us, 6 months later, how do I get them out? What happened? They moved in and never got rent. So what's this doing to my business and other rental companies is it's causing a great influx of new business. So it's good, I suppose. Most of investors now are kind of getting the idea that California has gotten too complicated for them to manage their own properties. This kind of rental fraud has gotten too complicated. And so we're adding, and we reject almost half of the clientele that comes to us wanting us to manage their property. We send it somewhere else, but we're still adding anywhere from 3 to 5 properties a week. So
Wow.
It's very busy. It's a very strange sort of market that's been going on for a while. So this is kind of becoming our norm, this crazy shortage of a norm. So that said, I'll kind of finish up with this. And if there's some topics you want to chime in and talk about, I'm just kind of shooting all over the place here, is Alicia, go ahead.
Question. So I know that it used to be that landlords couldn't kick the tenants out during COVID and all that stuff. Is that gone away now?
So that's exactly where I'm going right now.
Okay.
That's exactly where I'm going.
Very
So,
nice and black.
way back in history, a long time ago, 2 years ago, before COVID in March of 2020, it was, tenant didn't pay the rent. We'd give them a 3-day notice to pay rent. They had, either pay it or move out. And if they didn't pay it, we'd file this thing called an eviction. And oh my God, they took, 6 weeks to get them out. Whew. And that's what we did. And then along came COVID. And the rules changed, and then they changed again, and we went through phase 1, phase 2. We're in phase 3 of the eviction moratorium right now. Eviction moratorium is not over. We're just in phase 3. And it said things like, well, you can't move them out. You can't evict them. And so they just get to stay. And what happened is there was some legitimate cases in that, but honestly, for the most part, it was just people saying, look, if I don't pay my rent, the government's going to come in and pay it at some point. And this went on for months and months, and then a couple of years. And you know what? Turns out they were right. They were right. And we won't go into all the individual stories, but let me just say a lot of people clearly took advantage of that, didn't pay the rent, bought cars, went on vacations, did their thing in life. You can tell from the Facebook pages. And then lo and behold, applied, and the government is now, have you heard the advertisements on the radio, housingiskey.com? If you haven't paid your rent, you can't pay your rent, go to housingiskey.com. And so they have paid the rent. So, okay, I guess they're the winners then. And everybody who paid their rent, they're the oops. So, so there was that. And we sort of worked our way through this eviction moratorium thing. Now we're in phase 3, where Governor Newsom and others have come out and said, eviction moratorium is lifted, it's over, et cetera. Well, I suppose that is true in one respect, that we don't have a law that says you can't start an eviction. But what they did is when they moved that out, they moved in a whole armload of other rules and set them down in front of us, such that, and here's where we are right now, this is where I'm going. If you're investors, if you have, especially first-time investors, I don't think it's your responsibility to make them aware of all this, because it's too much information for you to try to master. But you should make them aware of, there are things like possible rent control. You should find out if this property is under rent control. Call Chris over at Rent Pros and find out if it's under rent control. I see people buying, having their investors buy properties with non-paying tenants. They'll buy a duplex and 1 tenant or 2 tenant. Somebody bought a fourplex a while back, no tenants are paying. And the owner, the buyer's like, I'll get them out, I'll do an eviction. Not understanding what those armload of new rules are. And they go something like this. They go something like this. If somebody doesn't pay rent right now, I give them a notice to pay rent in 15 days or move out in 30 days. So that means I don't do anything for 30 days. Then if I want to file an eviction, I have to first go to the state and apply for the money to see if the state will pay the rent. And the tenant also has to fill out the documentation as well, because when I fill it out and we put in the tenant's information, they get the email. And of course, tenants usually aren't communicating very well when they're not paying rent, but they get this email and then they don't do their part. So the courts say, well, if you did it, if the tenant didn't, I can't hear the case. That means we don't have an eviction going on. We're sitting there, right? And then we try to force the tenant to, and what can you force the tenant? So we have to file motions that and that takes another 30 days that, hey, the tenant didn't fill this out, but we did. And then we get a hearing on that, maybe go forward. So we get 30 days for that. And then we finally serve the tenant, which means I give them papers that go, hey, you are being evicted. What do? That's got lots of phone numbers on it now with all the agencies who have been funded to enforce that big basket of rules. And they can call them and say, what do I do? And we're seeing this happen, for example. You didn't serve me. I didn't get served. But we have pictures, we have video and all this. And so what we have to do is file another hearing, another 30 days. And then I have one case where we served them. We got to the hearing and they said, I didn't get served. Well, how did you know to show up? I didn't get served properly. So we went in front of the judge, when judge, here, you're served, right? And opposing attorney is there, opposing counsel, a room full of people waiting to hear the case, witnesses. We serve them. And what do? Waited right until the very end and filed, I didn't get served properly. And so we get another 30 days. So some of these cases, where we used to think 6 weeks was a long time for an eviction, it's months. Some of these have been going on and it's tying up the courts and it's costing thousands and thousands of dollars. And, and then when we get the writ, we do have a couple where we've got, I'm not done yet, where we've got the writ.
Hey guys.
And that means that, okay, the sheriff can show up and and kick them out. And then the morning of, we show up and they wave a piece of paper. Last night, they went to the court and got a stay, which gives another 30 days. So then we have properties where there's gotten 2 and 3 stays. And so this is, my point is, evictions aren't easy anymore. There's a couple ways to get people out we could talk about, but here's what the message is for you. Don't get too involved as you used to in, you can do an eviction in 6 weeks. Yeah, get this guy out. Hey, raise the rent, move in, buy the place, buy that duplex and raise the rents. You can't do that anymore. You can raise them a little bit depending on what the CPI is and such. And so you can't be, you got to be a little more, look, here's what I do. I'm a heart surgeon, I don't work on brains. So, I'm a real estate agent. I don't work on property management. Stick to your, stay in your lane, as we say in business. And we try to stay in ours because the lane has just gotten very, very technical. And the thing that I can tell you is you're representing a buyer. You should really make sure that they are checking in to they're counseling with somebody to find out if that property is under rent control, if there's non-paying tenants, what their options are, if the rents are low, what their options are. Guy called me a while back. He bought a 106 unit property, and he was really hard to understand. He spoke with a very foreign accent, and he was very excited. He bought this property really cheap and wanted me to manage it and wanted me to raise all the rents to market rents, which means they were all going to go up $500 to $700. $500 to $700 times 100, that's a lot of money. And that's why he bought it. And I looked at him, I said, well, you can't. You can only go 9%. And he said, well, I can't afford the payment if I can't do that. I said, but that's the law. You didn't check it out before you bought. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not saying it, but I'm thinking, is his agent a little bit liable for not letting him know that this property is under rent control, or it might be, or whatever? So I would suggest that you do that, use that, that caution when you're working with buyers. As a seller, I don't know if you really care, right? You got a listing, it's a duplex, somebody wants to come in and think it's easy, let them, right? I mean, I don't know, I'm not an attorney, but to me, that's my attitude about it. But if it's a buyer, oh yeah, I'm gonna hold their hand. Rodney.
And what you kind of answered, I was thinking that there's another way besides just going for the money.
You know, what we do is this, the easiest way, if it's a single family home, is we just give them a notice to vacate, because single family homes, most single family homes up there are not under rent control. And so we can give a notice to vacate. We can raise rents to market. There's some exceptions and there's some issues and other forms you have to use. But what we'll do is we'll get a property with, we have them now. Look, they haven't paid their rent in 6 months. We know we can't get them out based on non-payment of rent at this moment. So we just say, here's a 60-day notice to vacate. We want the property back for whatever reason. And you can give the reason. Now, if they don't move, then I start an eviction on that. And those are pretty successful. Although I still am seeing that I didn't get served. I need another, it gives me another 30 days. I didn't get served. And then you did this wrong, and hearing after hearing. But finally, judges, after like 3 and 4 months, we see the judges going, look, this is enough. This is enough. We're going to execute that writ. And so they do, but it's still a 5 or 6 month process. But so it's changed a lot, hasn't it? And I think a lot of this has to do with this whole influx into certain areas, this whole shortage, this whole demand, where even the courts know, gosh, if I kick these guys out, they're going to be on the street. What do we do with them? I mean, I have to kick them out at some point. But it's kind of at the expense of the investor. So investors should be a little bit knowledgeable in that area. And we're happy to talk to them, before they buy is the best time to talk to them. So with that, yeah, a couple of hands go up here. Steve.
One of the things I learned from you that really opened my eyes about rent ready.
Yeah.
If you're representing a buyer and you just tell them you can rent it right away. And then based on that, it may not be compliant, it may not be rent ready. Could you cover that a little bit?
Yeah, I think in one of my presentations, maybe to this group, to others, this term rent ready, a lot of times we'll, and this is still very common, we'll get a call, somebody, hey, would you manage my property? Yeah, we go over. My agent said it's rent ready. It's ready to go. And I walk in and the paint looks pretty good and it looks all right. I could live there, you could live there, but it's not rent ready. And it's the old comparison of if your blinker goes out in your car, right? You can still drive it. It's your car and you just be extra careful when you change lanes until you get the blinker fixed, but you can drive it like that, but you couldn't rent your car like that to somebody. You couldn't go, oh yeah, here's my car, pay me for some rent. All of a sudden, imagine going to Hertz rental and getting a car and the horn and the blinkers and the brake lights don't work. I rented one like that in Arizona a while back, truly. And then just thinking that's okay. I mean, if there's an accident, it's going to be on you. The same with the rental property. There's so much there. When our people go through to do an inspection on these homes, they're in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home for an hour and a half with a little checklist. They're measuring the distance between the rails on the stairs. In fact, that's one of the pictures I have is that the stair rails can be how many inches apart? 4 inches, 4 inches. You gotta be able to take a 4-inch ball and you can't get it through. But these were all about 5.5, 6 inches. And this whole beautiful staircase in this really nice home that I thought this is a great home. They were almost 6 inches apart. I can't rent it like that. I can live in it like that. You can live in it, but you can't rent it like that. So rent ready is a term that you want to not use. And let us use that term. When we get it all done and pass all of our, we can't have oleanders. And then we measure trip hazard. The little roots are lifting the cement up a little bit, on and on and on. That's rent ready. So that's a good point, Steve. Just cautioning you to, again, we call that staying in your lane. Don't say it's rent ready because you don't rent stuff. It may be sale ready, and that's fine. You can sell it like that all day, but you can't rent it like that.
How many units do you currently manage?
We're just coming up on 1,200 right now.
And out of those 1,200, how many are going through some stage of eviction?
Of the ones who are being given us these really big problems, and we're seeing the writ thing happen, 9. I have 9 of those. So about 15 or maybe another 15
that's
total.
Less than 1%.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
I
then
think that's the context that everybody has.
But wait a minute. of the ones who haven't paid and who've gotten rental assistance we've had to work with over this year, that's probably 55 or 60 units. So that gets to be more.
It's still a small percentage.
Because it's still a small percentage, isn't it? Now, I cheat though, understand. I don't manage, when you talk about properties, A property is out here, B property is Antelope, C property is North Highlands, D property is, they get hard to manage. I don't take any of that stuff. I only take the ABs. So I'm only managing, pretty nice properties. If you give me something in the heart of Del Paso or something, I'm probably going to pass that off to somebody. And when you look at that total, because I do know managers who are dealing with those, and they're much smaller companies because they're just spending all their time on that. And they charge for it. They're making good money, but they charge for every time that they're dealing with that. So yes, my personal, it may not be a good representation of what the market is, because like I say, I cheat. I take A, B properties. I might take a few C's. Yeah.
Do you have any idea when phase 3 is going to end?
Yeah, March 31st. And what happens after that?
Phase 4.
I asked that. My attorney calls me almost every night on his way home, at least 3 or 4 nights a week, and we just chat. And I asked him that question 2 nights ago. What happens after March 31st? Have you heard anything? And he goes, no idea. And we've come up with these deadlines, there's probably been 4, 5, 6 of them throughout this whole, since March 2020, phase 1, and then this thing changes and then that executive order expires. What happens after that? We usually find out right as it expires. So you probably won't know till April 1st, April 2nd, right in there. Yeah, April Fool's. And we probably won't find out until then. And so we just play it by the rules. I mean, who knows if the legislators do nothing, we'll go right back to the 3-day notice, pay or quit, blah, blah. And I doubt that's going to happen.
We got 2 questions online. Valerie's wanting to know, what do you charge to handle like the entire eviction process for your clients? Is that an additional charge or is that part of the fee?
So I didn't used to charge anything for evictions, right? And now let's back up a step. Evictions used to cost total, the landlord cost was under $1,000 from start to finish. That's attorney fees, court fees, everything. Now that cost is more like $2,000, $2,500. And one of the firms that I work with charges a $2,500 retainer, and they charge $5,000 in eviction roughly, because they know what they're in for. My guy that I mostly use, he's still kind of, I tell him your fees are way too low. We personally charge $100 just for our paperwork time, but we're evaluating that right now because some of these we were at properties this morning with the sheriff. We were at court constantly with these 9 that we have. It takes forever and it takes a lot of work and a lot of time. But a landlord can expect to pay a couple $1,000s now for an eviction.
And then is there a chart or an online resource where we can go and see if there's rent control, or do we just have to call like for you?
Well, I mean, you could do the research. You could look at Assembly Bill 1482, AB 1482, passed in January of 2020. And that would tell you what properties are rent controlled and which ones aren't. But I will tell you, it's a 13 or 14 page small print document with a lot of legalese in it. And I can tell you right now, generally single family homes, here's the complexity of it. Okay, single family home not under rent control unless it's owned by a corporation, right? Or you forgot to give your tenant the notice in June of 2020 that says this property is under rent control. If you fail to do that, the property is now under rent control. And by the way, that's one of the first forms we get from free legal aid is we file an eviction or file a notice to vacate, and they say, hey, you didn't give us this form. You didn't give the tenant that form. We say, yes, we did. They didn't even check. They didn't ask the tenant. They're just shooting everything at us as fast as they can. So, anything that's duplex and above is going to be rent controlled for sure, unless the owner unless it's a duplex, they live on one side. So a non-owner occupied duplex and up, just say it that way. A non-owner occupied duplex and up is subject to Assembly Bill 1482 and all of the provisions within.
Townhome.
A townhome would be a solely owned entity, condominium. So no, that would not be rent control unless it's corporate owned or you forgot to give them the notice of rent control.
What about a triplex owner occupied?
Absolutely, it's rent control, yeah. Here's one. How about people who rent out rooms? I get those, and they want to kick somebody out. Is that multifamily? Actually, it does come under its own, there's a thing called boarders and stuff, a boarding, somebody's boarding. So yeah, that I don't touch those either. I send those straight to my attorney. There's no way I can, yeah, that's gonna be a tough situation.
Last one, Luis, because we're almost out of time.
Yeah, quick question. So if I have two people that asked about getting in touch with property management, I brought you up since you've always been super resourceful here. Is your phone number on your website like a good number for them to call and just consult with someone? Like, do you have a team that handles that specifically?
Yeah, we're gonna call, they're gonna call in and tell us what the situation, and they'll either get that person over to my new business manager, who is Ben, my son, or if he's swamped, it would go to me or to Steve, my office manager. So any of us three can do that consulting. For them.
That's rentpros.com, right?
Rentpros.com. Yeah.
Put it in the chat.
But you guys are pretty good. I mean, I don't know most of you, but I know a lot of the long timers here are pretty darn good at understanding the cautions and not saying things like rent ready now. And we appreciate that, because a lot of the business that we're getting from Cindy and some of the rest of you, we're seeing that at least the owners aren't being told, oh yeah, it's rent ready, it's ready to go, and having to fight that battle. So keep it up.
That's a big takeaway for me. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Everybody give Chris a big round of applause. We're right up against the 11 o'clock hour. So before we call it quits and let everybody go forth and make calls and make videos and start prospecting, Barry, I believe you have an upcoming event.
Yeah, so there's flyers on the table. I do an event about how to work with investors. And so Rodney's going to be on a panel there. Rodney, if you don't know, has done a lot of investing in his past as well. And so this is a unique event. You're going to be able to come from 9 to 11 to get the real estate part of it. But then you can bring your clients back. If they're into buy and hold, bring them back from 2 to 4. And if they're into fix and flip, bring them back from 6 to 8. And anybody that comes that's part of our team in Brent's line here gets a 50% off. It's only $49. And you 50% off is what is it, $19, $25. So register, when you register at the event, right, do TEAM, TEAM as the code. You can bring as many guests as you want to the evening events. If you registered for the first event, then it's open for as many guests as you want to the evening event. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Barry. I'm going to definitely sign up for that.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I've done this one a few times now, and I think it's I think my gift is simplifying some complex concepts.
Yep.
And we're going to have a panel of several different professionals there, so I think they'll like it.
And even if you don't have clients to bring to it, it might be a good thing to attend, because then you can speak the language, you learn the language of investors. Then when you do have that opportunity come up, you're prepared.
Yeah, I had a lady attend one in Denver, new agent, went out that week and landed an investor, got her first deal. So
There you
it's
go.
pretty cool.
Hey, Barry, when's that event again? What's the date?
That is the 25th. It's Tuesday, the 25th of this month. This month.
In about a week from this Tuesday, it sounds like.
Yep, it was 2 weeks from yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Tuesday, yeah, it's a week from this Tuesday. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Drew, and then we're out.
And to throw in for when you work with investors are really good consistency, right? Like, for example, I have 2 deals going right now with an investor. We have 2 listings going right now with an investor that they already flipped. It's consistency. As long as you know what you can really bring to an investor. If you can bring, what you can really bring is value to an investor is knowledge. Okay, any investor can look on, realtor.com and Zillow and find properties. It's having the knowledge to be able to see a deal, okay, and actually articulate how they're going to make money on that deal, which is going to bring value, which Barry's really good at communicating.
Yep, that's a good point, because the average home seller stays in the house, 5 to 8 years? These investors, they're not buying every 5 to 8 years, right? So these are good people to know. And then Drew, you mentioned you're doing some investing, right? That's what you just said.
Yep.
How is this month looking for you?
I had my first 6-figure month, so that was fun.
Boom.
in real estate.
The two investors in the back of the room making 6 figures a month.
You know, and it's a lot of it's from investors, and then it's that consistency in my business, in my traditional real estate business, is phenomenal, right? Like I make one phone call. If I find a deal, I can have it locked up and give me an hour or two.
So it's
Hey,
25
John.
bucks. 6
Hey,
figures.
John,
Yeah.
I got to bounce, so I hate to break in, but I want two things. Number one, if you're not meeting with Barry or Drew next week for a cup of coffee, I mean, how many people you know who make 100,000 in a month? You should all do that. Every one of you, if they're busy 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, you should just hang. You start going to coffee, people who make a lot of money, it rubs off on you. So that's number one. Number two, and just to wrap it up, Chris Arola, thank you. You really educated us, took our game up to a high level. I love you, man. You and I've been friends for a long time. Super grateful for you. You're a kind, dear friend. I love you. I'm so glad you came. Come back. Don't be a stranger. You've been gone so long. So we're glad to have you back at the Brent Gove team meet. You're always invited. And everybody else here, love you guys. Great to see you. John, I'll let you wrap it up. Bye, everyone. We'll see you later. Take care.
Bye, Brent.